welcome to the very first episode of Too Far Talk. This is a show where we dive deep into conversations about anything. We are your host. I'm Dom Delanucci.
And I'm Joshua.
And, we'll be honest. We've been wanting to do a podcast for years, but fear has held us back.
Mainly the fear of not being the best, or, maybe just not even really being good at this, let's be honest. But the cool thing is, we both got some shit going on in the old noodles, which is also slang for brains. Yeah, I'm on the street. I know these things.
Yeah, so now we're here, and we're ready to talk to you. And we're going to be talking about anything and kind of bring you the best of everything. That way, you don't have to go looking for it.
That's right, the best, like anal, and the worst, like sloppy anal.
So today, we're going to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, and that's the incredible art of pro wrestling. It's a art that has captured my heart and my imagination for many, many years. And to this day, it still amazes me. Jersh, what do you know about pro wrestling? Because I know you're not really a fan.
It's not just not being a fan. It's being a complete ignorant dumbass towards the beautiful art of throwing another grown man several feet in the air and then drop kicking him into a crowd of innocent bystanders. So that is... my knowledge is a little limited. I am always enthralled by just the act of it. It's like a fucking Broadway play of just the most muscled dudes and dudettes you've ever seen in your life. And just the drama of it all. It's fucking amazing to watch, but I've never really been entertained enough by it. Like, gets raw. It rubs me a little raw sometimes, right around the old taint region. The perineum gets a little juicy, a little red, a little chapped.
Hey. Funny you say Raw, too, because that's one of the things that we're going to talk about is Monday Night Raw and WCW Monday Night Nitro. But yeah, you hit it right on the spot, man. Like, it is just a bunch of people throwing each other around, and people, want to call it fake. But at the same time, there's a lot of things about it that's not fake. And that's what we're going to talk about, fake or not. We're not here to talk about that. We're going to talk about why I'm into it and what about it just makes me, amazed by it. So, kind of where the connection started, where it went to, and how it is today. You ready?
Dude, I'm ready for this shit. Let's get this pig fucked.
All right. So, starting at the beginning, how did I get into it? Well, it was around the time, I was about 5 years old. And my mom met this man that I would later call my dad. He became a stepdad. And he had a son who was about 10. So... me being 5, I immediately thought he was cool. And I kind of looked up to him. He was kind of like a little superhero. Even though 10 is young, as a 5-year-old, 10 was 10. It was big. So yeah, he had the very first console, the game console that I could, I ever played.
Yeah, so I'm guessing first console you ever played was like Atari 2600, your fucking old piece of shit. I love you, but goddamn, man, I got a feeling.
I'm not that old. Okay,
so whatever you want to fucking tell the ladies, that's fine. That ain't my fucking call. But okay, what was the first console then?
So yeah. So around 5 or 6, it was around 97, 98. So the Nintendo 64.
Fuck, hell yeah, dude!
Yes.
Your friend's mom had some money. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't my friend's mom. It was my stepdad, soon to be stepdad.
Whatever, man. We're all friends at the end of the day. I call my mom a friend sometimes. Like, hey, what's up, friend?
He had 2 Nintendo 64s. One was his, and the other one was like the quote-unquote family 64.
That had no porn games on it.
AKA mine, because the stepsister at the time didn't really play games, and, my stepdad and my mom didn't play games, and my little brother, he was too young to play games. He was like 2.
Oh, bullshit, man. You give that little bastard... Look, dude, you've seen 2-year-olds with fucking, like, tablets and shit.
I mean, yeah, but this is the 90s. This was the 90s. He was playing with toys.
He was a 90s kid. He was playing with Legos.
So yeah, I was playing 64. Yeah, that was my first one, and my first game I played was Mario 64.
Okay.
And
pretty average so far.
Yeah, pretty normal. And yeah, I fell in love with it. Which is
you saw Mario fucking grabbing Bowser's tail and swinging around, and that's where the love of wrestling came in.
No. But I do remember seeing Mario grabbing Bowser's tail and throwing him around to a bomb.
Don't forget, he also said, "So long, gay Bowser, you little homo."
No, but that was one of the things that got me into Mario, which is another conversation for another time.
Oh fuck yeah.
So yeah, I actually think that Mario helped me out with my reading skills because there would be a lot of times where I'd be in the castle and I'll just walk up the signs and read out loud, and my mom would be like, "Wow, you're getting good at reading."
You're very welcome. This is Mario teaching this asshole how to read. Now buy more product.
Hey, but yeah, I played it religiously. I played it every day, all day. Back in the 90s too. We had to go outside. So I come home from school, do homework, go outside for a little while.
They had to throw you occasionally out there.
Yeah,
grease you up. There now, no one will catch you. None of those child predators will get you. We got you all greased up, Dom.
Yay!
Yay!
But yeah, I'll come inside and I'll come in a little bit early sometimes. I'm guessing now as an adult, it's probably like around 6. I come back inside. And
fuck, I don't even want to be outside past like noon. I want to go back in.
But yeah, I'd play, and it was fun. So yeah, one day, my stepbrother, his name's Zach, by the way.
Right.
He comes home with a new game, and this is my first time seeing a new game as well, because we only had like a few games, and a couple of them being like Mario Kart, Mario 64, and 007.
Real quick though, was this like the new game as in like it was still in its box?
The
and
big
shit?
Old box.
This stupid. All right, on a side note, I want to get it back. I want to get back into this, obviously, but holy shit. Who the fuck thought a cardboard box for their fucking games was going to be a good idea past 1989? Like, the fuck? No, Sega Genesis had plastic VHS fucking cases, basically.
Yeah.
All right, they could have. I get that like cardboard's cheaper, but goddamn, man.
How much was a Sega game? Around the
fuck,
dude. Was it the same price as a Nintendo game?
They were around like $50 to $60 depending on what the game was. Nintendo was selling like Super Nintendo games for like $70. I think like up to $100 for like some random rare bullshit.
And I feel robbed now.
You are. We're all robbed, man. And now we're bitching about 70. All right, to be fair though, we are bitching about $70 like Call of Duty games and fucking Battlefield and shit like that. So
but then you got DLCs and you're spending like another $30, $40. Another conversation for another time.
Season passes can get fucked. Anyway, but yeah, what was the new game?
So anyway, Zach came home with a new game, and the game was WCW versus NWO Revenge. And
I think I have that. For my N64.
That's wild. If you do, I'm going to play it.
Yeah. I'm just taking it.
So anyways, at this point, I've seen wrestling on TV. I didn't really care about it. My grandpa liked wrestling, and, when I first seen it, it was like the blue ring, yellow letters. So, I didn't really recognize it on the cover. I was like, okay, it's wrestling. Wrestling is wrestling. But, there was something about this game that caught my attention. So, you put the game in, it shows the logos, the game studio, the engine, all of that stuff. Yeah. And then it cuts to this cutscene, and it's like an intro video. And it starts off like there's a thunderstorm, and a semi is driving on the highway.
It's being driven by Jesus.
Close, the giant.
Fuck.
But yeah, he's driving the semi. And, I watched it yesterday just to see what it looks like now, and it's bad.
No.
But as a kid,
it's art.
As a kid, I looked at it and I was like, oh, what is going on?
What are these next gen graphics? What is this life? Is this real? Am I fake?
And then they cut to this, fire shooting up. It's like in the middle of the road. It's like you can tell somebody's standing in the middle of the road.
Oh hell yeah!
And it's like these barrels catching on fire.
Fucking takes him down.
And it's like
it's twisted metal now.
But yeah, like booms of fire come up, and I'm like standing in front of the TV like a zombie, just what is this? And then it cuts to the guy who's standing in the road. Like his pants, and you can see his trench coat and his bat and everything. Yeah. And it pans up, and you see his face, and it's Sting. For people who know what wrestling is. For people who don't know what wrestling is. Sting.
Hi. Hi, I'm that guy.
Sting is this character who, before he became the guy that I saw in the intro video, he was a guy who had blonde hair and, like colorful face paint. And he always wore face paint. That was his thing.
Wait,
And,
he was the guy with like the white and black.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
I've seen him before.
That's what I'm talking about. In the 90s, he reinvented himself because that's what you gotta do in wrestling when you start getting stale.
Yeah.
Is reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
They call it repackage. But
I love the terms.
yeah, there's a lot of terms. I don't like talking about them because wrestlers talk about, well, if you're not in the business, you don't have any right talking about the business like that.
All right, Jesus.
So,
sorry, Vince McMahon. God damn.
no, it's more. Yeah, but yeah, it panned up and you see Sting and it's like lightning flashing, fire shooting up, and then it cuts to this badass rock riff. It's like brant, brant, brant. And
whoa, easy there, man. I don't want to get copyright struck in the first fucking episode.
Well, I didn't do it right anyway.
Okay,
so
perfect.
we did.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, then it shows us like opening package of like all these wrestlers doing crazy shit. It's like gameplay, gameplay cutscenes.
Right.
And yeah, man, and it was dope. And I stood there like I said, like a zombie for so long. And
your mother's shaking you.
Just watching this TV, and Zach is over there like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "What is this?" And he's like, "It's wrestling." And I was like, I've seen wrestling before. It don't look nothing like this. And he's just like, "Yeah, it's different now." And so yeah, he played it. He did like 3 or 4 matches, and I stood there, and then he handed me the controller.
Oh shit! You got to hold the fucking
I got to
three prongs.
The 3 prongs. Grabbed it like a dick.
That's the best. That's the best way to fucking grab anything, ladies. If you're listening, which you're not, but there you go. Grab everything like it's a dick. You'll go far in life.
But yeah, I played it and I fell in love with it, and it also had multiplayer. So, which was, pretty cool at the time because I never played a multiplayer game. I mean, we had 007.
4-player fucking N64 multiplayer always slap in the best way.
We had 007, but I didn't have any friends to play it with because you got to remember at the time, video games wasn't popular. And there was only like a few friends who...
Get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Playing a video. What are you playing? Pokemon Red? I'm like, I'll give you a pass this time. If it was Tetris, we would have beat you up.
But, so yeah, it's the first time playing multiplayer. Me and Zach would sit there and play. We played for the rest of the night. And, so yeah, that's, how I kind of got into that. But,
because of the N64. Thank you, Japan. You've done it again.
So
not only do you invade Pacific Islands and fucking kill millions of Chinese people, but you also make a really good system.
Hey. So yeah, I played it for a few days, and I got hooked on it, and I didn't watch it yet. A week or so passed, and my brother came out of his room, and he was always in his room. You know how older kids are.
Yeah. Because
I was the same way when I was about 10 to.
Oh yeah, you keep that fucker sealed. You don't want to let that stink roll out. People know what you're doing in there.
Hell, that stanky smell.
Wait, what is that? Cum? It smells like Elmer's glue in here.
So yeah, like a week or 2 passed. Might not even been that long. It might have just been a few nights to the following Monday. I don't remember. But so yeah, it was a Monday night, and those that don't need no context, what happens on Monday night. Do you know what happens on Monday night?
Yeah, I go to sleep and I wake up on Tuesday morning. That's what happens on Monday night.
That is exactly what happens, except for a little while Monday night, wrestling comes on.
Oh, wait, Monday was the fucking...
Yeah.
They didn't do it on the weekend? Why the fuck would you... Oh, maybe because Monday's your worst day at the work. So you're just like already mad. You just want to see someone take their aggression out on another human being?
That makes sense.
It does.
But I think it's more of the
prime
time TV.
Yeah, some postal workers just got a loaded shotgun in his living room. He's like, today's the day. And then wrestling comes on. Fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. Doing his... What was his move? The Stone Cold what? Stunner, yeah. He's like, I'm a stone cold stun all these fuckers at the post office.
See, that's how polarizing wrestling is, because someone who doesn't know wrestling knows who Stone Cold is.
I do.
And he knows that he drinks beer, and he knows that he kicks ass.
Does he chew bubble gum too, and he's all out of gum?
Probably. You know what?
What a fucking man.
Is that... I feel like that's a promo he had one time. Maybe not.
You're thinking of a different wrestler.
Nah, who knows?
Yeah.
There's so many... It's a weekly episodic show. It's been on for 30 years.
It's a long soap opera.
Yeah. So yeah, this was like the peak of wrestling. They call the Attitude Era. They call the Monday Night Wars because while a lot of people know what WWE is,
even I know.
Some people know what WCW is, and they may have gotten hooked that way because at the time they had groups like NWO, they had Sting, and people like that. So yeah. During this Attitude Era, it is when WCW was able to catch up to WWE in terms of ratings and then beat them in ratings. So WWE had to change their product because at the time they were cartoonish. They had like a...
Did they pull out fucking big old bats with nails sticking out of them and fucking... Did they have goofy sound effects? You get hit and you're like, oof! Ow!
Well, they had a storyline about an egg.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, it was
You're fucking with me.
It's about an egg, and...
What?
I don't remember the resolution to it.
Neither do they. They're just like, whatever.
And they had like real cartoonish characters like... Oh, man.
Like Goofy, Donald, Mickey Mouse.
No, they had a hillbilly. I forgot his name. But he...
Hillbilly Harold. Everything's fucking phonetic.
Oh, man. I'm going to get my head chopped off for not remembering his name. But they had like a bunch of cartoonish characters. They didn't really have any polarizing, tough characters. They had a couple, but they wasn't really being...
Were they like cartoony tough, though?
Yeah.
Like it was just fucking Popeye and Bluto?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
That was a good way to explain it. But yeah, it was just like that.
Okay.
So WCW was bought by Ted Turner. If you don't know who Ted Turner is, he owned the Atlanta Braves for a while. He owns TBN, TNT, TBS.
He owns you. He owns me. He owns everybody.
I'm pretty sure he owns Cartoon Network. Because you can drive down 7585 in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And you'll see a building that has like CNN, TBS, TNT, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, all that.
Fuck.
And
he's the reason why Teen Titans Go became a thing, guys.
I mean,
blame him.
Let's not hate on Go. It's not as good as regular.
Okay.
Another conversation.
It's a whole nother episode. Hour and a half convo. All right, look, I see its merits, but I'm just not so sure.
but yeah, Turner bought WCW, and he was rich, and he was able to put billions into like. Or millions, billions, I don't know how much.
Let's just say quadrillions.
Yeah. Into production, make it better. He was able to sign big stars that was like recognized, like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Okay. I'm recognizing these names.
Yeah. Everybody knows the golden era too, especially Hulk Hogan. Yeah. Who don't know, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. Take your vitamins, something like that.
I'm raising my hand because you can't see, but I'm like, yeah, fucking me. I don't remember that, but whatever.
Anyways, so he was able to acquire WCW, put money into production, get who he wants to, do what he wants to, and it became like a different alternative than WCW. And I guess that someone back there was paying attention to like the demographic and paying attention to like culture, because in the 90s, it was kind of grungy. It was dark almost. Yeah. It was like attitude.
Kurt Cobain playing in the background, fucking Steve Cornell fucking belting out.
Yeah.
Motherfucker's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel sad and angry.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, WCW took that and they were like, we're going to cater to now. So they made it more edgy. They made it more like violent. I
like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
They sexualized it more. They did... It changed everything. What WWE wasn't, they did the opposite.
So many sexual awakenings watching Stone Cold Steve Austin come on stage. Dad, I feel weird.
Maybe, but they had like women dancers, like cheerleader dancers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I realized why I didn't watch a lot of wrestling and like Christian ass parents.
Yeah. So they and like the women started wearing like push up bras to like, really show their cleavage and whatnot. God. Yeah, they're very sexualized, which was not good, but.
It gets the views, man.
We've moved past it since then.
It gets the views. YouTube, I know what you're doing. We know it gets the views, dog. I'm just saying.
So yeah, that's the Monday Night Wars. Eventually, WWE saw it and they were like, hey, we got to change. Because WWE was losing ratings. While, 7 million people was watching WCW, 1.5 million was watching WWE. And the story started becoming like, are they going to close their doors?
It's like it would just hang on like, is this the last episode of...
well, they wouldn't say that, but it was...
Dragon Ball Z narrator comes on, is this the last episode of WC I don't even know.
WWE.
Whatever, acronyms.
And at the time it was WWF.
Oh, God, dude.
But yeah, so people started tuning in WCW, and the word was that WWE was going to close down soon. So WWE made a ditch effort, and they were like, hey, we need to do what WCW's doing and make it edgy. So they did. They introduced groups like D-Generation X. They took Stunning Steve Austin and turned him into Stone Cold Steve Austin. They turned Rocky Maivia into The Rock. And it just became more edgy. It became way more edgy. It became like more.
Just a wrestler coming out with a fucking chainsaw. He's just like,
you know what?
I'm gonna get you.
You know what? I don't think that is a far-fetched lie. I think something like that happened. Something close.
God.
Anyways,
I can see it.
Anyways, so WWE eventually, was able to climb back up, and they started like sharing views for a while. And then WCW used to do this thing where they'll give spoilers because WCW was live while WWE was taped.
Yeah.
And they used to be like, hey, if you're wondering what's going to happen at, on the other show, so-and-so loses, so-and-so wins. They lose by this, they win by this. And then they go, well, now you don't need to tune in over there. That's what happens whenever we're live and they're not. And they used to do that shit all the time. But they fucked up once. And they told a spoiler to a match. It was Mankind. And I think The Rock, maybe Stone Cold.
Okay.
I didn't do my research as well as I should.
Dude, I have no idea what the fuck is going on right now, so you're good.
Mankind was this hardcore legend, and he was loved by a lot of people. And he was like an underdog. And,
nice, everyone loves him.
So everybody heard, like, they popped on and said, on the other show, Mankind wins the WWF Championship. Everybody was like, what? So they immediately tuned off.
What the fuck?
They immediately tuned off and went to WWE.
Oh,
and
God,
that was like the turning point. That's when everybody was like, "Oh shit, what's going on over here?" And they know it's pretty much the same thing as WCW, different but same vibe.
I got you.
So yeah. So my stepbrother came out and he's like, "Hey, you want to watch wrestling?" And I was like,
he came out as a wrestling fan. Mom, Dad, I like wrestling.
So
no son of mine's gonna like wrestling. We got camps to change you.
Hey. It actually kind of turns into something like that later.
Oh, God.
Not really about coming out, but more of like my parents didn't care about it, so we'll get there.
You lucked out then. Yeah.
So, my brother came out and he was like, hey, do you want to go watch wrestling? And I was like, watch? Sure. And, I watched it and it was cool, but I wasn't into it yet.
Okay.
So I kept playing the game for a couple more weeks, and around this time it was about 99. I've been playing for a couple months now.
Yeah.
And
it was back in the day when you just had that one favorite game as a kid and you use it the fuck up.
Yeah, burn it out.
Hell yeah.
I pop in, watch wrestling because they'd be on TV, and I be like, oh, look at this guy. I remember him from the game, or I remember him from the game. Oh, Booker T. I like him.
He's a good character in the game.
I was able to make favorites.
Okay.
From the game that I wanted to see on TV.
So you had like a roster of the who's who of
Booker T. He was one of my favorites. He was this. I have to show him to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see what Booker T looks like.
And then he had Disco Inferno. He was dressed almost like Elvis, and I like doing his dance. He do the disco dance,
I want to meet the guy that comes up with the names for these wrestlers. What's his thing? Disco Inferno. There we go. All right, next one. We got 500 more characters to figure out, guys.
And then we have Raven. I thought Raven was cool because he was kind of like Sting, but without the face paint and without the darkness. He was kind of like just grungy and gothy, Okay. He sat in the corner looking sad. And then he'll beat you up.
Yeah, beat you up and then still be sad. Like, why do we fight?
And then another one of my favorites is Goldberg. And,
I've heard of Goldberg.
You know Goldberg?
I know Goldberg, yeah.
Goldberg became my favorite once, one of my favorites.
Didn't he become like a politician or some shit?
No.
No, who am I thinking of?
Jesse Ventura?
Yeah.
But, Goldberg used to wear these black trunks, almost like underwear and black boots. And knee pads and shoulder pads.
All his black. Balls so that way if they slipped out, it would still look black.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But
my guy, that's my kind of move right there.
He used to come out dressed in that. So one time I got in trouble for I thought I was in the house kind of by myself.
Oh no.
And I had a black pair of underwear.
No.
And I had these black shoes. And I would open my door and I would say to myself under my breath holding my head down, being like Goldberg, go. That's what happened. Shut up.
Okay.
And I would walk out of my room and down the hallway like I was Goldberg.
Hell yeah.
Go punch in the air and stuff he did. And I did this 10 times. And my mom finally came around the corner and she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, And she was like, your sister's here. I was like, oh my God. And I got in trouble.
You got in trouble. But all right, dude, in this situation, I don't know if out of embarrassment I would pretend I was doing something that was worse. Yeah, you're just like, I was jerking off. Like, go inside. Fucking little monkey animal. What is wrong with you?
Oh, man.
Sorry.
So,
dodged another bullet. They still don't know I like wrestling.
I would play the game, and
Yeah.
I was more hooked to the game than I was the show.
Gotcha.
But the one night I was, in and out of the living room while Nitro was on, the WCW show.
Gotcha.
It was on, and Zach was like, "Hey, Sting's about to wrestle." And come to find out, he was wrestling my other favorite. His name was DDP, which means Diamond Dallas Page. He is now a yoga instructor. Crazy turn of events, and it's weird looking back. But he's old now, and he got into the business late.
Okay.
He was in his 30s when he learned how to wrestle.
It's just like us. We're in our 30s and we're learning how to fucking do
Podcast.
this shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of. But when I say he got into the business, he was in the business younger as a manager, but he didn't start wrestling until in his 30s. So yeah, he was one of my favorites. And playing the video game, you don't know what a good guy or bad guy is. You don't hear the fans chant and all that.
I don't know, man. I feel like with like wrestling, I'm always imagining the bad guy, the villain character. He just comes out. He's wearing a fucking cape. He's like stroking a cat.
That's
He's like a fucking.
I mean, if you look on the surface and you got a picture of DDP and a picture of Sting, and you got to say, hey, who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? You're like, oh, that's scary dude with the face paint. That's the bad guy. Wrong.
DDP. That stood for double dick penetration, right?
Close.
Okay.
Close.
Whoa, wait. Are you serious? I was close.
No, it was Diamond Dallas Page.
Fuck. I like mine more. You can really put that on a t-shirt.
So yeah, I didn't know that Sting was so popular and such a good guy. I didn't know his story. I didn't know DDP's story. I just knew, these were the wrestlers that I liked that I played on the game.
Right.
So yeah, this is the first time actually watching Sting on wrestling because he was like one of the main event guys, which I went to bed at 9 o'clock. And main event was like 10, 11 o'clock. So I finally got to watch him wrestle, and he wrestled DDP, and the match caught my attention, and again, I stood in front of the TV like a zombie.
Nice.
I wasn't running back and forth playing with toys.
My brain-dead friend just staring. Fuck yeah.
I didn't remember a lot from the match, other than it was a lot of back and forth, and Sting was really tired, and his face paint was almost worn off. But I did look it up yesterday to rewatch it to see what was so good about it.
Yeah.
And it was a great match.
Sting looking in the mirror afterwards like, I'm a mess. I'm not. Look at this. It took me 30 minutes to put this on. Sting, it's gonna be okay. No,
it's not.
He throws a little hissy fit in this fucking changing room. Like, it's bullshit.
So yeah, that's mostly what I remembered. The face paint wearing off, and it did. It was almost like completely gone. And
that must have been cool though, like battle damage in real time. Kind of shit. That is nice. Yeah.
And so yeah, it was a cool match. And from that moment on, I was hooked. I was tuning in every Monday night. I knew what channel it came on. I also got introduced to WWF/E. That's when I got introduced to Stone Cold and The Rock and Undertaker and.
You sound like geometry fucking equations. WWE plus F carried over by the W is what? And I'm just banging my head against the fucking table.
Squirrel?
Squirrel? Is it that? Is it the thing with the nuts? Like, no, it's not. You fail.
But yeah, this moment I was hooked, and I started having all kinds of merch. I had shirts, jackets, fucking toys,
condoms. You just had everything.
I was 5 or 6, but yeah.
They make little ones, I'm sure.
But
that's pretty fucked up.
And they also there's also a group in WCW called the NWO, which was the New World Order.
Yeah.
And there was 2 branches at this point. There was the regular NWO, the white and black, and then they had the Wolf Pack, the red and black. And I had both. I didn't learn the history about that for a little while. But
so much fucking lore, dude.
There's so much lore.
So much lore.
Other episodes. But yeah, everything was now, Sting, DDP, NWO, or Stone Cold and The Rock. I was completely taken over. Alright, so after this, I watched it all the time, and I was a big fan. And we eventually moved to South Carolina because my stepdad was military, and he got stationed in Charleston. So, yeah, like I said, my brother was the biggest reason I watched. I didn't really know, a lot about it. I knew the start times, I knew the channels, but I didn't really know, like, what show comes which and, back and forth. Yeah. Because he would, like, flip back and forth.
Fuck yeah.
Between WCW and WWF.
There's nothing worse than being a kid and getting hyped about something you're finally into that's on TV, that isn't a cartoon, and you're trying to figure out channel lineups. You're like, with the Fox 3? Like, there's more than one Fox? What the fuck? Where is TBN? What? Hallmark? Get the hell out of here. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, so, like, during this time, this was like 99, 2000. Yeah. A lot's happening in 99, 2000 at a time. So we moved to South Carolina. I didn't really have friends that watched it. I didn't really have friends at all in Georgia.
Yeah.
And I got to South Carolina, and I became popular. I started having friends. I started like dating this girl. Well, I think she was dated by all of us boys in the group. Different story.
Oh, Jesus.
But
they heard your Georgia accent and then you melted. That's why you're so popular.
But yeah, like I was kind of more popular in South Carolina,
Yeah.
which is like a trend for me. I'm liked more elsewhere other than my own home, like hometown.
Yeah.
Which is wild, but you know, whatever. So yeah, I had all these friends, and they didn't watch wrestling, but they did watch other things that I was into. That I got into. One of them being Pokemon, the other one being Star Wars, the other one being Rocket Power. We loved Rocket Power.
Fucking Rocket Power.
Yeah. And we lived on base, and that meant that you can pretty much do anything, go anywhere, and you won't get lost.
Yeah.
Because if you got lost on the base, no, you didn't. They knew
Yeah.
they knew every square, and it happened. Like I got lost on this trail in this park on the other side of the base. I didn't know anything about.
It was a live firing
range, and I was just scared. And eventually,
they're just shooting rounds. Anyone who gets the little kid down there, you get a fucking free beer. Like, oh yeah.
No, eventually MP pulled up and he like kind of saved us all, and he was like, "Yeah, we seen y'all." I was like, oh, okay.
Just watching, see how far you'd get close to the minefield that we laid out before you felt bad.
Oh no, we never went in those parts.
Oh, you missed out. Man.
But this is definitely a park, and there's like trails at the park, like walking trails.
Right.
And we just like ended up going in circles. And
it's just you're trying to keep track. You're laying down little breadcrumbs and shit, and then your friend's eating the breadcrumbs as you're going down the fucking path.
But we rollerbladed, we rode bikes, we skated.
Hell yeah.
We didn't surf because the East Coast don't really surf much, but we boogie board.
Yeah.
And,
hell yeah, dude.
So
boogie boarding, nothing wrong with that.
So yeah, we kind of like impersonated Rocket Power, and we played Pokemon the wrong way and traded cards and.
There's no wrong way of playing the Pokemon card game because to this day, as a grown man, and I can read, I'm pretty sure I can read, I still don't know how the fuck to play the card game.
Me neither.
I'm pretty sure it's like Magic the Gathering a little bit, just like an easier version of it, and I'm still like, nah, this is not working with my stupid brain.
I'll do it my way and just do the tag, extract the HP, and that's it.
Energy cards, get them fuckers out of here.
Get them out of here.
These worthless.
Get them out of here.
Get them out of fucking...
So yeah, you know, I started getting into other things. Batman Beyond too. I love Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
They also Power Rangers. I was still into Power Rangers.
What season? First?
Lost Galaxy.
What was that, like the third or fourth one?
So it was like 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin, and then they had a season of Zeo, had a season
Turbo.
of Turbo,
Yeah.
and then they had a season of then it was Lost Galaxy, I believe.
Okay.
No, it was Space, then Lost Galaxy.
So many.
Yeah, because
so fucking many.
Yeah, they were able to go to space. Because in Lost Galaxy they were
Lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Finally, a title that fucking works for people like me.
But yeah, another thing that I learned in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Because I started watching Nickelodeon, Disney, and all that, was that the channel lineup was very different than what it was in Georgia.
Dang,
So
yeah, that's a good point.
So what was channel 34 in Georgia for Nickelodeon was like channel 50 for Nickelodeon in South Carolina. And I didn't know like TNT, and I didn't know USA or anything like that.
CMT.
And
country music television. What?
And my older brother at this time was about 12.
Okay.
So he was too cool to hang out with us.
To be fair, when I was 12, I also thought I was too cool for anything.
And at this point, I'm pretty much like 7, 8. And
not cool.
Yeah, not cool. Yeah. I had my friends, and he had his friends, and he was also getting into MTV and stuff like that. He still watched wrestling, but he was in his room watching wrestling still.
I would love that this video got like 1,000 views, but like 1,000 dislikes because the only people watching it are 7 and 8-year-olds. They're like, "Fuck you, I'm cool."
But yeah. So my brother quit hanging out with me pretty much. Started hanging out with his friends, and he started hanging out with girls.
Oh, nice.
And I was hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
And I had friends all over who liked different things, but none of them liked wrestling. And I kind of got out of it. I still played the game. I still wanted to watch it, but my parents didn't really like it. They thought it was stupid and fake, so they just didn't turn on. And
I know for a fact Mom says that she's been faking it for years, so I don't know why you're upset about fake shit, Dad.
Yeah, but anyways, so yeah, I kind of got out of it for a couple years, and then my mom and stepdad get divorced, and so yeah, we moved back to South Carolina, or back to Georgia, and my mom started dating this farmer. You know, my life was in crumbles, and you know, the family and friends I left behind, you know, had a lot, you know, on me.
It's hard shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And I guess my stepdad thought that since I wasn't his blood kid, he didn't have the need to talk to me anymore. And since I wasn't his blood child, even though he gave me my brother's last name, but that's a different conversation for another time.
Fuck.
So, you know, a couple years passed, and it's like 2003 now. 2003, 2004, something like that. And we moved to South Carolina in like 99, and around, you know, like during that time, a lot happened in wrestling. WCW lost the Monday Night Wars.
Okay.
They closed.
Okay, good.
And they were shut down.
One less acronym I got to worry about. I'm down already.
They were bought by WWE. It was this crazy turn of events. Vince McMahon popped up on WCW TV, and he was like, "Hey, I bet you're wondering why I'm here. I bought this bitch." And and he's like, "This is gonna be the last show. Enjoy it." And he put on some banger matches.
All right.
He had Sting versus Ric Flair, which is like a callback to the 80s.
Nice.
He had Booker T, and it was great. He fired Jeff Jarrett on the spot.
So this was basically like the best of, and this was the last kind of shit.
Yeah.
I like that. I figured if you're gonna go out with a fucking bang, man.
But there's a lot of people who like jumped ship to WWE. You know, a lot of them was valuable, and WWE saw that, and they're like, "Hey, you want to come work here? You want to get treated right, but hey, you get a paycheck." And a lot of them was like, "Okay."
I like that. We're gonna treat you like shit.
Yeah,
garbage, human filth.
Yeah, a lot of them did. DDP became a fucking joke in WWE.
But he got paid?
Yeah.
He got paid. There you go, baby.
Sting didn't hop over until like 2016.
Whoa.
Yeah. He went everywhere but WWE.
he went into like Osaka professional wrestling or some shit.
I mean, I think he did go to New Japan.
Did he do like Japanese wrestling?
Yeah, I think he did go to New Japan.
Fuck.
Because
wrestling was big in Japan.
It still is.
Well, it still is, yeah.
NJPW?
When I was stationed in Japan, everyone thinks it's just sumo wrestling. Like, no, man, they have like a really
and they're passionate about it in a different way. They're very respectful. They don't yell. They don't they don't chant like screaming "fuck you."
But you will see some of the shortest short kings, some short stack motherfuckers just flying through the air like little squirrels.
Well, you also saw that too. Like in WCW was one of the first televised like in America where they were able to utilize the cruiserweights. And speaking of that, it's one of those cruiserweights that got me back into it.
Okay.
But, a little context first. My mom started dating this farmer. I was very different than him and his kids and their family because, I was living on base in the city.
And his kids were made out of corn and various produce products, yeah?
But they were mean. And,
they were mean?
And they were and they were super country.
Oh, no, nothing worse than a mean country person.
And I would get bullied all the time for liking Pokemon, for liking Star Wars, for liking Rocket Power, for liking anything.
You like a Pikachu?
Pikachu.
Well, let me peek at you real quick for 1 second because you're a fucking idiot.
So, and the older brother, he was like 16 and I was like 10.
That's a dangerous combination.
I was...
Of a stepbrother right there.
I was like 11 or 12 at this point.
That's still dangerous.
And he was like 17, and he was a big bully.
Yeah.
He didn't only bully me and my little brother, but he also bullied his little brothers, like to a point where he like have us crying in the corner.
That's fucked up.
And he'd be like standing there with a hammer, like,
what the fuck?
Playing around.
We're gonna play mass murder. Like, I don't want to.
Oh man! One time he was outside. And he was trying to scare all of us, and he was like banging on the trash can with a hammer. And his dad pulled up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Did the dad fuck him up?
The dad finally believed us.
Oh
yeah, he did.
Oh yeah. Because that's the thing about being a kid. Like no one believes anything you fucking say.
Yeah.
Unless you have like proof.
Yeah.
Which as a child, it's kind of hard.
Well, he pulled up and he got out there and he threw him in the house and he told us to stay outside.
Oh no.
And you heard yelling and banging, and then was all come inside and he was laying on the floor like with a busted nose.
Shit.
So I don't know what happened, but they got into a tussle.
Your Honor, I can't say what happened in there. For all I know, a ghost came in and just whooped his ass wholesale.
Oh, yeah. But, I adapted and I started doing things that, they enjoy doing, like hunting and fishing and riding four-wheelers, off-roading.
You still liked what you liked previously, though?
I liked it, but on the down low.
Okay, so you kept that shit a secret.
Like, I still have my Pokemon cards.
You would hit the wall in your room and a fucking secret compartment would flip over.
Oh, man, that'd been nice. It was more like hiding in my sock drawers and stuff. Like, hiding my Pokemon
like
cards.
Like it's porn, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I adapted and I started, like, enjoying football football too,
Yeah.
and other sports because that's what rednecks like. And that's why I find joy in doing any and everything because I had to adapt over time, and also I didn't have a lot growing up, so I had to have fun with what I had.
Right, it's like hand me down hobbies basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this time I'm playing football for school because I still didn't really have any friends in my hometown, and I wanted to make some friends, and so I played football, and so this day I'm coming home. It's a Thursday night. I just had practice. I'm tired. I'm sweaty. I'm still wearing my gear. I'm still in my cleats. Still got my football pants on, my pads in, my shoulder pads are off, but it is like you wear a t-shirt under your shoulder pads and jersey,
Right?
And that was still soaked in sweat. My hair was still soaked in sweat, and
Can we play like sexy music over this description? Hey. Why are you making it sound? Goddamn, dog.
Hey, so
I was sweaty, biting my lip.
So I ate alone in the living room.
Okay.
We had a table kind of like yours, like you lifted up the top of it and it kind of like
yeah. So I have a coffee table where you can pop open the top portion and it extends out to make like a very convenient, lazy, I don't want to move at all and have something in front of my mouth.
Heck yeah.
So ladies, in case you're getting tired of having to get close to a penis, get that. You can lay on it and then he can pop it up and just stand in the right position to get easy access.
There you go.
I'm just trying to help. I'm trying
to
look out for these couples out here.
You're right. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Ladies, gentlemen.
Gentlemen. Yeah, anyone else.
So, yeah, I ate alone a lot of times, so I turn on TV.
Okay.
And that's probably why I turn on TVs and watch TV as I eat now, no matter if I'm eating at a table in the dining room or whatever.
Yeah.
So, Mom's telling me, hey, you need to wash your hands. Supper's about done. And I was like, okay. And I'm turning it to my favorite channel, which is UPN, because it had my favorite comedies on it. It had like the Jamie Foxx show, it had the Martin show, it had
bangers.
It had like
fucking solid bangers.
Yeah, it had Moesha, Malcolm and Eddie.
I forgot about Moesha.
Yeah. So I would watch those and I loved it because at the same time too, I was starting to like develop my teenage personality, which was comedy. I love being funny because I realized that being funny got you friends.
Yeah, it's the only way you get ahead in life is just being funny or entertaining to random people.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I'd watch these shows, but this night, it was Thursday night, and I guess I just so happened to turn it on at the right time, and wrestling was on because it used to come on the UPN channel. They started another show called SmackDown.
I've heard of SmackDown.
Yeah.
See, these names are starting to sound familiar in the weird jumbled mess of my mind.
It's become mainstream.
Okay.
SmackDown comes on Fridays now.
It's kind of like Warhammer 40K is starting to become more mainstream.
Yeah.
Another episode.
Oh yeah. Episode 2.
Fuck.
But wrestling was on. It was SmackDown, it was WWE, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I haven't watched wrestling in a while. I'll watch wrestling. And I get my food and I come back and there's a guy who I didn't know was in WCW at the time. To me, he was brand new and I was brand new. I remember it's like 2 or 3 years later.
Right.
Like completely like throwing it away, and all I knew at the time was still 98 video game. So
still have it. That's the only thing you're playing still.
So I had a lot of questions like what happened to the F in WWF. But this guy was Rey Mysterio, and he was diving, he was flying.
Was he mysterious?
Yeah, he wears a mask, and he's small, and he's doing these crazy moves.
Was he like Hispanic or some shit?
Yeah.
He was?
Yeah.
So he was like luchador.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I like luchador
and he's very small.
That's pretty
cool.
So
he was like a cockroach, just flying everywhere.
So wait, we should probably give some context too. How tall are you, Dom?
6 foot, 6'1" on a good day.
6'1" good. Lucky you. For a comparison, I am 5'3".
Yeah.
5'3.5" on a good day.
And Rey Mysterio, he's a short guy. I think he's like an average person height.
Average person.
But like,
fuck you.
But like,
fuck you, dude.
Well, I mean, like, compared to wrestlers, who's all like 7 feet. Rey Mysterio is 5'6".
17 feet.
Rey Mysterio is 5'6".
He's 5'6"?
Yeah.
Fuck, he's still taller than me, but fuck, that's like, yeah, we'd still be friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'd hang out with him.
So so like he was smaller and he was able to do all these athletic stuff. He was flipping, he was flying. He was like really one of the first ones to do that.
Okay.
Now it's kind of a mainstream thing, and everybody's
when I think of wrestling now.
Yeah, everybody's doing flippy dippies.
Flippy dippies?
Yeah.
Is that the term?
So that's close to that. That's what I can come up with.
The fact that there's a term for it. I
And I was just thinking like, man, he's so small. He flies around. He's wearing this mask. He's so cool.
He's like a superhero, dude.
He did his move at the very end. It's his special move.
Okay.
Which is like
signature.
The one that like knocks him out.
The fucking prostate pickler.
Yeah,
some shit.
Something like that. But his was this crazy round kick.
Whoa.
Like he'll put people on a rope,
like a spinning round kick.
Yeah, like he'll like put them in the middle of the rope, like hanging over, and then he'll run back and then like grab the rope and spin around.
Whoa.
And it was called, and that caught my attention. Before I say what it's called, I remember going to my little brother and be like, dude, yo, this guy, Rey Mysterio, like he's so cool. He was so fast. He's flying, he's diving, he's jumping, he's flipping. He's like, he has this cool move called, it's like this round kick. He just grabs the rope and he spins around and he kicks him in the face.
And then you're like, I think I'm in love.
And my brother was like, oh, cool, I want to watch. So, 8 o'clock,
yeah.
8 o'clock the next Thursday, I was there on the dot. And, I was, on this night, I was introduced to a lot of people. I was introduced to Eddie Guerrero, who became one of my favorites. Kurt Angle, The Big Show, which reminded me of somebody I didn't, that I knew in WCW. It just took me a little while to realize he was a giant. And then I was also introduced to a young John Cena. John Cena at the time, he was this bad guy-ish. He was like an anti-hero.
Yeah.
He was
It's kind of like a dickhead
well,
now.
not really anti-hero. He was more like, people liked him because he was edgy and he was rapping and he was cool.
I'm John Cena and I'm here to say, I don't care what you think, I'm not gay. And then he farts in the mic and then he drops it.
You know what? That's pretty close.
Pretty close?
Same vibe.
Oh, okay.
Cheesy rhymes.
I like that. Yeah.
So yeah. This is what that should save John Cena's career, because he talks about how before that he was known as a prototype, which is a generic big guy.
Okay. Like a template.
Yeah.
Of a person. Okay.
Yeah. And he wasn't really hitting it on the main roster, and they were gonna get ready to fire him, and he ended up, doing a freestyle on the bus in front of the boss's daughter, in front of everybody, but the boss's daughter was there.
Yeah. And
she was like, "Hey, you should do that in the ring." And he was like, "You think so?" And he did it, and that kind of like saved his career, made John Cena who John Cena is now. So,
an actor.
So yeah, on this night, Rey Mysterio also wrestled, and I was like, "Hey man, here he is," and he did that round kick, and I later found out that it was called the 619 because the area code for San Diego was 619, and that's where he was from.
I love that.
But there's also a couple things, I don't remember which episode it was, but like within the same time frame that got my attention. The round kick, which was 619. Big Show, he flipped over a Jeep. And, as an adult now, I know the trick behind it. But, man, just having this big guy with this giant Jeep, he's shaking it, he's mad. Then he can't flip it over, so then he slaps the windshield, and the windshield breaks.
I was about to say, this sounds like a good promotional ad for Jeep. It's like, Jeep can even handle this roid rage wrestler. And then he fucking breaks the windshield, though, so that makes them look bad.
But then he ends up flipping it over.
Oh.
And I remember being a kid, and I was like, oh, that's so dope. But as an adult, I know the trick behind it.
The trick behind it, kids, is anabolic steroids.
But then one of my favorites became my favorite. It wasn't John Cena or none of that. It was Eddie Guerrero, and he was cool. He had this whole lie, cheat, steal personality, and you got to lie to win, you got to cheat to win, you got to steal to win.
Nice.
And
at first, he stole all of his fans' hearts.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
He's actually he's a romantic.
He did. His first character was like this suave.
Rico Suave kind of guy.
Hispanic. He was partnered with China. He'd be like, "Hey, mamacita," and things like that.
Mamacita, I like how your penis is bigger than my penis. That is very
that is scarily scary accurate what people was talking about her at the time. And that's probably why she ended up doing Playboy and stuff.
Oh wait, for real?
Just to prove that she was a woman, that she was beautiful.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what? I can understand that.
Yeah,
I want to be a beautiful man. So sometimes I gotta be on Playgirl. That's the same thing.
Hey, so yeah, but yeah, at first I didn't like him because I told my mom, I was like, "Ew, yeah, he just lies, cheats, and steals. That's not good." But eventually he became my favorite, and I was like, "Hey, orderly homes, I lie, I cheat, I steal."
You were the kid playing video games, and it had like a light and dark path, and you always pick the light path.
Hey, I still do.
Yeah, I do too sometimes. Man. She's like, I feel bad.
But yeah. Eddie Guerrero became one of my favorites. Another thing that I look forward to on Thursday nights was the Monday Night Raw replay, because we didn't have cable. We had bunny ears. Really good bunny ears. Well, it wasn't really the bunny ears. It was the big satellite antenna outside,
Yeah, that's the thing that actually works.
Yeah. And
so you're like stroking the bunny ears, like, you guys are good.
So I didn't really have the cable to watch Monday Night Raw. But I still watch Thursday Night SmackDown.
That was that weird transition in like the mid 90s to like early aughts when everything was transitioning over to like you had to have cable.
Yeah.
If you were going to watch TV, sorry, bitch, you're going to have to buy cable.
Yep. So, I'd watch Monday Night Raw replay.
Right.
And it was just like 2 minutes of what happened on Monday night, like the main event, the main story.
Highlights.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I got introduced to Triple H and Shawn Michaels again, but they were very different. Triple H was the leader of this group called Evolution, which was like the past, present, and future of WWE, which they did.
Oh, I thought it was like themed wrestlers. One of them's acting like a monkey, and the other one's like a Neanderthal. And...
No, it was mostly like Ric Flair was.
That'd be cool though, right?
Yeah,
they get like a gorilla or orangutan, and they're actually one of the wrestlers. No. I think
cheesy.
it'd be cool.
That's cheesy.
A gorilla ripping the arm off some fucking wrestler.
Maybe in the Indies. The independents,
yeah,
not TV.
I'd watch that.
But yeah, they had like Ric Flair as the past, they had Triple H as the present, and they had Batista and Randy Orton as the future, and they were like very vicious. They were like crazy, and they would beat people up, and they were cool. They were partying in jets. They were partying in limos. They were like with the women on the jets and limos and all that. And
I'm in the jets and the limos and the women.
I'm like 12 and 13 at this time, so I'm like, oh, I want to be like them.
I want to be this.
I like Randy Orton became my favorite overall, like so much to where I started like basing my personality around him.
Right.
I started being like this cunt. I started being this asshole.
I like how quick you were to admit that like you were being a cunt.
Yeah.
I was a big cunt.
I didn't have any friends. No girls liked me. So I was like, hey, if I be like Randy Orton, maybe people will like me. So I like walk around my chin high and I smirk.
Okay.
What's up? I wish the camera was on. I'd be like, what's up?
What's up?
And it kind of worked.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would have seen the camera being on, you would have seen probably honestly, if your panties weren't moistened by that face, I don't know what would get you going. I don't even know.
And then, lastly, the Undertaker. Undertaker was there, but he was different. He wasn't this dead man scary dude. He was a biker.
Oh, okay.
And which later,
different type of scary.
Yeah.
More heroin scary.
Which later, he became the dead man again. Different story. So time passed by, and I'm a fan again. I'm back into it. My mom ended up leaving that farmer after like 4 or 5 years and moved in with my great grandma who had cable.
Great grandma had it going on.
Yeah. So I was happy now. I watched Monday Night Raw. I watched Thursday Night SmackDown because she got both channels. They eventually moved SmackDown to Friday nights, and WWE became PG. They also had another show, ECW.
Okay.
That was another promotion during the 90s that got bought by WWE, and they actually turned it into another show that was supposed to bring in new characters,
The way you describe this, I just imagine like a crazy person with like a lit cigarette in their mouth with a fucking like corkboard and all the acronyms tracing back to who's buying who and what just went away and all this other shit. And like, you can pay attention to this. I swear to God, you will love this franchise, okay? Like, fuck.
So yeah, a lot of people was leaving. A lot of people was coming in. The Rock was pretty much gone. He popped in every now and then. He got beat up by Evolution. Stone Cold left. Reasons I found out later was that he just walked out because he didn't want to lose somebody, which, makes sense. There was no build to it. There was no story behind it. And it's Stone Cold. You can't just lose. And
he can't
just lose for no reason.
He sounds like the kid at school that like you would challenge him to like Foursquare. As soon as he was getting to the point where he was going to lose, he'd just walk away. Like, no, dude, you can't fucking do that. Like, come on.
And then you had other wrestlers who I was caught by, like JBL. He was part of the 90s Monday Night War, but he had long hair and he was like this barroom gambler who would fight you and stuff, like bodyguard too. And his character changed to be like this millionaire Texan. So he was very arrogant.
He was like, yeehaw! There's one thing I love more than drilling oil. It's fucking up you assholes. He pulls out a gun loaded, just fucking starts firing it. Did he do that? Did he pull out just a pistol?
No, he didn't do all that. I'm just saying, like, come on, man. It's national TV. You can't do things like that. Even though like during even though during the 90s there was a trick with a gun, and it came out to be like a flag, like you see on cartoons. It's like bang 316,
bang. 360 no scope.
And so I hated him. Evolution broke up. Trying to hit the highlights of things that I remember the most.
Right.
Undertaker became the dead man again. He scared me. There's a guy named Edge who was, wrestling during the 90s.
Yeah. I'm looking at the note page here. It just says, scared me, sad face.
And then
good.
Edge became his own person. He became Mr. Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is this match where it was 8 people, I think 6 to 8 people in a ladder match. And he had to go grab this briefcase. And at this time, when you have this briefcase, you can cash in on a champion anytime, anywhere, any champion, and become champion if you win.
It's like a fucking cheat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, cool. See, they're paying attention to their own games. I like that.
So yeah, Edge became Mr. Money in the Bank. He beats John Cena. At this point, John Cena's Superman. He's starting to become his generic character that we all end up getting tired of.
Sounds about right.
My mom also started dating this other guy who didn't have cable. So when I stayed with her, I'd walk down to my brother's old babysitter. Her name was Miss Lee. Yeah. She had cable. We would watch it every Monday night.
So, quick PSA. Moms, if you're out there, date guys with cable. With cable.
If he don't have cable, he ain't worth your time.
No. Nowadays you got all these other streaming services, but at the very least, cable and at least either Showtime, HBO, Cinemax. Did they merge those now? Or those the same? Stars, maybe? One of those. Just one. Okay? If you're doing that, your kid will be okay with you getting dicked down by someone that isn't dad. All right?
Okay.
They'll be fine with it.
Also during this time, it's like 2009 at this point. The highlights I'm hitting is like in between this and like 2012. So like 2004ish.
We're going through decades, people.
Yeah, I mean a lot happens that we can talk about, but we ain't got to. That's for another episode. I was hitting the highlights. Another one was that a new promotion started coming on TV. It was called TNA.
Tits and ass.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
At first.
Oh.
Come
on, guys.
And then like when they got on TV and everything, they started being more serious, and it was total nonstop action.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, rip to a real fucking legend acronym right there.
At first, they were like only pushing, which means like giving a shot to like young people, like the new show for the new people, and
instead of nude people.
Yeah, I mean, everybody who was young then are pretty much in WWE now.
Okay.
So it's wild, like AJ Styles. Samoa Joe was there too, but so we'll talk about that another time.
That's what the name of this episode is going to be. We're going to talk about that another time. Just another time I'll talk about it.
And they also had like the Hardy Boys. They kind of grew into their own characters.
Okay.
We also got magazines, subscriptions. My grandma had this friend who loved wrestling, and she would record. I hope she don't get in trouble for this. She would record every episode of like every pay-per-view on VHS, and then she would give it to me.
You know what, Dom? If you weren't supposed to do it, they would have figured out how to prevent that from happening in the first place. That's what I have to say on that one.
I mean, it kind of transferred over to reaction videos now.
Yeah, and that's basically, if you want to see a pay-per-view event, just reaction video and just ignore the dude making the faces, and it'll be good.
But she also had like other magazines and posters and all types of stuff that she would give to us because she knew how much we loved wrestling. My brother and I, we were so obsessed that we were always wrestling in the yard.
It's a kick-ass lady.
And my brother and I beat the shit out of each other in the yard, and my cousin would also come in, and we all beat the shit out of each other.
So you lucked out, man. You had brothers. I had sisters. If I beat the shit out of my sisters, not a good look.
Well, and the thing too was that I was a bigger, older cousin, so I always made myself look better while I was beating up everybody else. But hey,
grabbing toddlers,
throwing them. Dalton and Ryan got their looks on me too. Ryan messed up my knee. Anyway, so yeah, we beat each other up all day, and let summertime come. And everybody was at work, and it was just me, my brother, and my cousin at home. Them pots and pans were going to be used. Chairs were going to be used. Weapons were going to be used.
You're drawing knives and shit. You're cutting fucking across the chest to bring blood out. Like,
we wasn't that hardcore, but we were.
You were getting close, Tom.
But yeah, I started making friends who liked wrestling. So it wasn't a lot, but it was a couple.
You guys were the wrestling kids in the neighborhood. Oh, hey man! No disrespect. Everyone had that group of kids that were into shit.
We was also in the country, so it wasn't a neighborhood kids.
Okay, well that's even better then, because you could just be a weird group of kids and fucking get away with it.
Something that I didn't talk about, I was kind of saving it closer to the end. Eddie Guerrero died. Yeah, he died in like
Rip.
'06, heart failure.
Oof.
I thought that this guy named King Candy killed him on TV because he got hit in the head with a chair, and that was his last match. And I was like, I hated King Candy for a while. I was like, man, you fucking killed Eddie. You killed, and then I found out it was heart failure.
It's heart failure.
And then once I got in high school, the PG era started. No more competition. They can go back to their cartoonish ways, kind of cater it to kids. They get merch sales, kind of like Star Wars did.
Okay.
And John Cena was like the biggest merch seller, so that's why he was like Superman. He became so generic.
He comes in, he's just picking up a kid, and just, like,
yeah, I mean, kind of.
Really?
Sounds
like he's running for fucking office. What is he?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
He had to this day, I think he still has more wishes at Make-A-Wish.
Really?
Like he's granted more wishes than anybody else.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, man, dude, good on him for doing that.
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, it's cool. Especially now as an adult. As an adult, I look back on it, I'm like, you know what? John Cena did what he had to do.
I think I would definitely hit the peak of my life if a kid dying would just be like, do you have any last wishes of Johnny? And like, I just want to see Joshua face to face. Like, okay. I come in there awkwardly. Hey, Johnny, how you doing? Looking great, champ.
So still hitting on my highlights from 2004-ish to 2012. There's a couple of wrestlers that came in and left.
Revolving door.
The acronym revolving door, RVD, Rob Van Dam.
Okay.
Yeah, that's wild, isn't it?
Fuck.
I thought he was. Probably a lot of people thought he was related to Jean-Claude Van Damme because he kind of had the same face.
He just had a square fucking head. Little chin.
And he was very, martial arty.
He was very European. Was he European?
No.
I would have sold it for me. Guten Tag, how are you doing? I'm about to lay a smackdown onto your kista.
Like I said, he was very martial arty. He was, kicky, and he did, all types of stuff. And he even kind of looked... Here's a picture of him.
Let me see.
He even kind of looked like a Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He does. Folks, and, look him up. You too will see his square head. It is like someone smushed Jean-Claude Van Damme's face into his face. It's pretty accurate.
But he became one of my favorites, and there are many others I'm forgetting about that I don't really want to get into.
We got plenty.
So
I'm not remembering any of them.
By the time I got to the high school and it was PG era, I kind of slowed down being obsessed, but I still watched. Yeah. I still watch every Monday and Friday night. Well, I didn't watch Friday. I watched Saturday mornings because I was partying Friday night in high school.
As you would.
And I would DVR it and then watch it Saturday morning as I'm hungover.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're enjoying your high school life. Me, I'm fucking just sitting in my house being like, I don't like people. I don't like any of you guys. I'm going to play GameCube and fucking Xbox 360 when it came out.
But we still play games.
Yeah, but you played it with friends. I didn't play with shit.
Oh, my friends and I still play games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I slowed down a lot. But I feel like I still had to watch wrestling. Like I said, John Cena changed. He was now the measuring stick. And Randy Orton was my dude. Like I said, I formed my personality around him.
Okay. So John Cena set the standard for how a wrestler should be?
It was more like if you can beat John Cena and impress John Cena, then...
Oh, that's how you solidified your career.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So there were a lot... You think John Cena was just getting his dick sucked by all of these up-and-coming wrestlers?
Shit, probably.
Come on, John, just let me see it real quick.
Eventually, around 2015, people was like, yo, man, are you going to let anybody else wrestle?
No. John Cena's just laying out. He's taking all the space on the ring. He's like, nope, no, you guys can't come in.
Nope, it's mine.
Nuh-uh.
But yeah, I found out histories and all that stuff. I found out what happens to WCW. I'm more, knowledgeable about the history of wrestling. And
you've achieved neckbeard status in the wrestling community.
That is a real thing that people talk about.
What, neckbeard wrestling nerds?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's fucking cool.
And all the other things that I'll mention later on. But wrestling became my safe place. So I would tune in on Monday and Friday nights for a while. Monday and Friday nights, and then on Tuesday nights sometimes. And it was kind of a time when I could time travel to 1998 and be with my family. Yeah. And so anytime I watch wrestling, I think about is Zach watching this? I wonder if Zach's watching this. I wonder, then I found out later something about him. So yeah, nowadays I still watch it and I like it. I still like it a lot. I'm probably more obsessed with it now than I was in high school.
So you sound like you're the crack addict. You're in that far almost last stage of the addiction process where you're just trying to chase the high, but you still get the feeling from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
good.
right after high school,
Folks, try to get that kind of feeling in life. Don't do crack to see exactly what I'm talking about, but just you'll figure it out. You guys are smart. You'll figure it out.
So right after high school, I moved in with this friend of mine, and he didn't watch wrestling. He didn't have cable. He didn't have bunny ears, but he did have video games, and he had other substances to keep our mind occupied.
Yep.
And I didn't have
bottled water and celery sticks. That's what he had.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really watch wrestling a lot. I would go over to my grandma's, and my brother would have a DVR, so I watch highlights, fast forward through the boring parts because it was kind of boring at this time.
Yeah.
But then around 2013 or 14, a new group was introduced, and in this cartoonish world again. I say cartoonish world. Like one guy I remember is Santino Marella. He's this Italian guy. He was very comedic, and he had this finisher. It was the Cobra, and he would take his arm.
The Cobra? It was his arm, right?
And do this.
Oh, you just flip somebody off.
And then he'll look at it and be like, slap his hand, and then turn around.
Oh.
And then it'll strike you.
Oh, no.
And then kill you.
Oh, my God.
And but he always did a bunch of,
Don't trying to fucking strike me down.
He would do a bunch of comedic matches, and he even dressed up as Santina.
Okay.
And was a woman wrestler for a little
while.
while.
Okay. Nice. Did he have big fake jugs and shit too? Oh, dude. All right, guys. I'm serious about this. If you guys are gonna do funny cross-dressing shit, all right, please, big stupid boobies, big old dumb. We know they're not real, but I don't care. That to me is peak funny.
Maybe it's just his man pegs. I mean, I'm big.
It's his actual.
Here's Santino.
Let me see. Whoa, dude. Yeah, you were in what?
And then here's Santina.
Yeah, let's see Santina. Those were his pecs.
Damn. Those his pecs.
Those were his pecs. Never mind. Well, you guys, you know what? Don't compensate. Just try. Oh, he's so happy. Let's get a little crown on him.
But yeah, this was the type of wrestling they were doing. They also had Stardust, which was wild because he was a son of a Hall of Famer. He shouldn't have been treated like that, but he was very cartoonish, and he ended up leaving. That's a different story. But yeah, around 2013-ish, a new group was introduced, and it was kind of a breath of fresh air. Okay. They were called the Shield, and they were like this.
They were a Marvel superhero team.
I mean, they kind of dressed as mercenaries.
Did they?
Yeah,
that sounds cool.
It was dope. Yeah. So they had Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose, and they dressed kind of like. And here's a picture of them. Cavalier.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for showing me the picture, Jamie.
Jamie.
They literally, they look like they're dressed like they're security contractors in some shitty Middle Eastern country. Yeah.
So
where are we going today?
So they would come down from the stands, and they were they even have masks sometimes, the ghost mask, skull.
Yeah.
And they would look so cool. They would come down from the crowd, and they would just go in and jump everybody, and just beat them all up. It was like what one person lacked, the other person in the group made up for it. So Roman Reigns had the muscles.
So it was a rock paper scissor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Whereas Roman Reigns was rock. Seth Rollins was a scissors. He was sharp. He was articulate. He was the architect of the whole thing. And then Dean Ambrose was a lunatic. He was crazy.
Just like paper. Just like a piece of paper.
So and plus, Roman Reigns is kin to The Rock. The whole Samoan family. That's another topic. But yeah, they were cool and they were vicious. And Evolution got back together. Ric Flair wasn't part of it because he's old at this point. It was 2015-ish, 14-ish at this point. And I kind of started getting back into it because of them. And Evolution was back together. So I was like, oh shit, they're back together. They're old now, but they're back together. And
they got little walkers and shit. The boys are back in town, baby.
Not yet. Batista came back. He was doing Guardians of the Galaxy and everything.
Oh yeah.
And I guess he wanted some extra popularity. Maybe another paycheck while he was waiting for a Marvel paycheck.
On some real shit, do you think Batista can act?
Yeah, dude. I think he's a better actor than John Cena.
You know what?
But John Cena,
I will agree with
John Cena was good in Peacemaker.
Yeah. But I feel like they just wrote John. I feel like they wrote Peacemaker to just be John Cena.
Well, they did a good job.
Yeah, they did.
And John Cena was pretty funny in it. And it's better than
his delivery's good.
It's better than that Bumblebee movie.
No, that was fine. That was okay.
And I mean, The Rock was even a shitty actor when he first got out.
Yeah.
I liked Scorpion King. And I like the rundown.
Did you like the CGI in Scorpion King?
You mean the CGI and
in
Mummy?
Mummy Returns or whatever?
But have you ever watched Scorpion King?
Yeah, I have. I watched it in theaters too.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked it because he wasn't like the CGI character.
He was like normal human being. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I liked them in Rundown. I liked them in Walking Tall. But then after that, he made a lot of straight to DVD movies.
He did.
He was
doing some Steven Seagal style kind of shit sometimes.
Until like around 2010, I think the Game Plan. It was his first Disney movie, and I think Disney was like, "Hey, this guy's money." But
we're keeping you. Put a little collar around him. Come on.
But he became like a good actor, and he also went back to WWE for a little while. During this time actually, and had a match with John Cena. Crazy fucking build up. It was good, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Evolution versus Shield. Evolution, trying to evolve. They had this story of, you gotta always have a plan B. And it turned out that
just like my mom and dad having kids, I always have a plan B, folks.
So one of the guys in Shield turned on the other member of the Shield, and that broke up, and it started what I call the Shield era. And since then, not a lot of people that I mentioned before show up. I mean, Rey Mysterio's still there, but he's a step slower now. His son is wrestling now. He's like the biggest bad guy, while Rey Mysterio's always been the biggest good guy.
I like that.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's pretty cool.
Dom Mysterio gets he gets so much heat. He's getting booed so loud that you can't hear him on the microphone.
I love that.
And
fuck you.
Yeah.
People throwing their children at him to get him.
Which Roman Reigns now is in the storyline. That's the Shield.
Yeah.
He is now in a storyline that's been going on for 3 years, and it's the most beautiful story. It should be nominated for like a reality soap opera.
Really?
Emmy.
An Academy Award.
It is great, man. It is emotional. It is the best story at WWE.
They win the award, they're crying on stage. I just want to say thank you everyone who didn't fucking believe it in us.
But yeah, things are different now. Seth Rollins is also the other main guy. For the next few years after the Shield broke up, those three were like top. They're like WWE champion, main events, all that for years. Dean Ambrose ended up leaving and becoming Jon Moxley in another promotion that started up. Which is still another conversation.
I love that.
But yeah.
It's going to be Dom's catchphrase. Another conversation.
Triple H, the guy that was in D-Generation X in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then, throughout the 2000s, he was just a mean guy. And then Evolution and all that. He is now the boss. And he is running most of it. He is, like, head of creative. And he's also married to the boss's daughter. So I kind of helped him out. But yeah, that's just what it's up to now. There's a lot of new faces now, like Kevin Owens, Becky Lynch, a lot of people you don't know at all. Logan Paul's there. He's okay.
Logan Paul here.
He's alright. A lot of people don't like him because he's a Paul, and but he's doing alright. He's cool. So yeah, a lot of things changed since then, and I don't know. I just turn it on now because maybe I feel like I have to. I still like it.
Feel obligated.
I feel obligated
to watch these guys.
Yeah, and
and that's commitment though.
And I feel a connection. I'm able to like feel the good times.
I feel like anyone that's really interested in anything, they have that same kind of feeling of like, I have to be committed to this. I need to watch it. Mm-hmm. I might not even get the same kind of enjoyment out of it, but they still tune in. Yeah. It's like, I don't even like baseball anymore, but I'm still watching baseball. But I don't even... Baby, I don't even like you pooping on my chest, but I'm still here because I'm part of the team. I'm part of the game right now.
And it's always been my safe spot too. Like even if I'm in a bad mood now, I'll come in here and get on YouTube and watch clips. I'm always ready for a Monday and a Friday night, and even got on Wednesday night now with the new promotion. So but yeah, it's always just been a cool place to travel to when I'm not in my right headspace. It takes me back to when I was a kid, and it's overall just a good show. People like to shit on it and say, "Oh, it's fake, right?" It's like, yeah, but
there's some fun in it though.
Yeah, man. It's still fun.
It's like you go to watch a fucking
play.
a play or even like an action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, people will fucking get upset. People that are like fans of like Fast and the Furious and shit, they get upset if you talk shit on them. Oh, it's about family. I'm gonna fuck my brother now. Vin Diesel, come on. You're like, oh no, family.
Yeah, a lot of people's like, yeah, it's grown men running around, pretending to fight each other. It's like, yeah, have you ever watched a play?
Yeah. That's
grown men and women running around, like Les Miserables. There was fighting in it.
Yeah. And any movie, any type of media.
Yeah, it's always choreographed. But the thing is that this is weekly. There's no off time. And yeah, there might be cushions in the ring, might be cushions outside, but try falling 7 feet onto your back 20 times in a match,
even on a cushion,
every single night.
Yeah,
like your body's not meant for that.
No, man. When I was in the Marine Corps and shit, we would do McMap, which is like Marine Corps mixed martial arts, fucking fighting, and we would have those tearing up like tires, tore up tire pieces, like as a ring.
Yeah,
and it would cushion. But dude, man, you're getting thrown with. That was the only padding you had technically. Was that, and you're getting thrown around and shit. My little ass, I always got picked as the throw partner.
Yeah,
because you're super light. So it's like I really want to feel what throwing another man feels like. So they would just pick me and do like shoulder throws and hip tosses.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was doing MMA,
everyone did. Everyone did.
I picked the small kid.
Yeah, you picked the small kid. You want to have someone that's below 5'6" in any fight training thing. Because they're the funnest person to throw around. And they know that. I knew that.
And not only the athleticism, but you have to, there's a certain art to it. You got to act in a certain way.
Yeah.
And you're only telling like 10 minutes of your story every single week. So if done right, you can make a long story. Like right now, the Bloodline story with Roman Reigns and his family. Because, it's a big Samoan family. And the Samoans are running the wrestling promotions right now. Because in just WWE, you have like Rikishi, which you might know him. He wore the sumo suit.
Yeah.
That is the Usos' dad and Solo's dad.
Okay, cool.
And you got Roman Reigns. He is the son of a legendary Samoan wrestler. And then you got The Rock. You got why is my brain going blank? You got Tamina. You got Nia Jax.
You could just start making up Samoan words, and I'd be like, yeah, man, I think I heard of him.
But
Macadamia, yeah, man, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so like they have a storyline right now it's like the Bloodline story, and it's about how Roman Reigns became this bad guy, which he was booed for a long time for like trying to be the generic John Cena, right. And it's just a good story.
John Cena light.
Yeah.
Diet Cena.
Oh man, we'll talk about that. Ooh,
fuck.
So yeah, it's just a good place that you can go to where it's a lot of times there's a lot of bad people doing bad things, but in the end, the good guy always wins. Like, I remember being a kid and Triple H, he was like the meanest bad guy ever. And he would sit there and be like, why you fat people are at home, yada, yada, yada.
No, he had to say like, well, your fat asses are sitting at home.
Can't cuss on TV.
Oh, okay. Your fat booty meat is planted into your chair.
But yeah, it's stuff like that. And I remember like thinking like, oh, I hate Triple H. He's so mean. And then he'd get beat up.
And then you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, go John Cena.
Hell yeah, justice.
So yeah, I mean, it's always a good story of like, the good guy always wins. The good guy will come on top. And sometimes the bad guy stays on top. But eventually the good guy comes around and knocks him down.
There you
go. And, it's just what you want to deal with in like real life. You want the bully to be taken down. You want the bad guy to be beat. And that's pretty much what this turns into. Like Edge that I mentioned earlier, he was so mean too, and he always got beat up. And that makes you feel good when you see things like that.
You see some karma dished out actually in real life, and not ever happening.
Yeah.
You make it to your deathbed, and then you finally found out the person got some karma and it wasn't even that bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, like I mentioned way earlier in the podcast, that I let fear dictate who I was for so long, and when it came to like I never started my podcast because of that. Yeah. Well, now even at 31, I'm thinking I'm about to go to wrestling school because it means so much to me. And people start wrestling at an older age. Something like DDP I mentioned earlier, he was in his 30s when he learned how to wrestle.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows what happens? And do I think I ever make it to WWE? I don't think so. Stranger things have happened, But I just want to have a match like in front of like 30 people. Just because it'd be fun.
So we need you guys to start fucking subscribing so we can do a live event, I guess, where I get my back broken in half because we don't know how to fucking do it. Well, you do. I don't. I don't fucking know what I'm doing, man.
They'll teach you.
They'll teach you.
Like, there's been a lot of people who was brand new to it, never watched it, and became some of the best. Like Batista, I believe.
I don't think my autism is strong enough to fucking be able to master professional wrestling in a short amount of time.
I mean, you'd be surprised your body can adapt to a lot.
I guess so.
But you know, it's better than, you know, even if you try and succeed at it, it's better than not trying at all.
Yeah. Remember, folks, better to try than to die.
So yeah.
Unless you die from trying, in which case don't ever do.
So the message of this whole story is stay loving what you love. Mm-hmm. Don't let it define you. Don't live in fear. It's okay to fail. And you know, try it out, let it break your heart, and decide from there. The art of this for me is amazing, but you gotta do what you like and you gotta live what you love. And that's just life. I had a wrestler comment on one of my posts lately.
Oh yeah?
And told me that someday is a day of the week, spelled W-E-A-K, and I kind of like that. So now I always say that, you know, if you say you're gonna do something someday, then you need to go ahead and do it now, because someday is a day of the week. But with that being said, I'm almost about ready to sign off here. Do you have anything you want to add?
I don't even know, man. I'm fucking motivated right now. You got me all. I'm like tearing up a little bit.
Hey.
This wet shit's coming out of my eyeballs. I've never had before.
Is this milk?
It actually is. Oh my god, it's milk. Honestly, I gotta say, this has been a great conversation. It's really put a lot of just a lot for me to think about. Honestly, I'm kind of wrapped around all of your experiences you had with wrestling, how it shaped you growing up and becoming a man. It's very cool. And I got to say, when it comes to being a failure, as a failure myself.
Come on.
As a failure.
Come on.
No, but honestly, I keep saying that, honestly, but fuck it. We're all going to fail sometimes. The cool thing is, it's not going to be every time. I've never met anyone that failed every time, unless they died. In which case, technically, you could say the last time they failed was probably the most impactful. So, really, guys, let's not die after we fail. Let's focus on not doing that.
Hey.
If we could do that, I think we are succeeding. Every day we make it through life and we're not dead. Guess what, guys? You win that day.
Yes. So just remember, for other haters out there too, pro wrestling is it's more than just a sport or a form of entertainment. It's also a blend of athleticism, storytelling, and it's larger than life characters that create an experience for children and all kinds of other people like no other show, movie, or sport can. So whether it's like high-flying maneuvers or dramatic feuds, or the unpredictable twists and turns, you know, pro wrestling just never fails to, you know, leave me.
And remember, pro wrestling, you can hate on it. I get it. It's also keeping the spandex and polyester communities alive with business. So we need those jobs, people. We need to keep those jobs in the U.S. as best we can. And wrestling is keeping that happening. That's probably not true. Probably all of it's made in Thailand and fucking China. But still, someone's having to come up with the designs, and that's interesting.
Nice. Oh, cool. So, I guess that about wraps it up for today's episode of Too Far Talk. I hope that you enjoyed this dive into the world of pro wrestling. And maybe you can walk away with it with a little bit more of an idea of why people like it, you know.
I know I have. Shit.
Hey.
Thanks for the recap on everything. I feel like I really do know a lot more, and that's all I really needed in life. I just needed to know more about wrestling, and now I feel so goddamn complete.
Hey. All right, well, in the next episode, we're going to talk about Jerish's love for some of his favorite things, one of them being the Warhammer 40K series. And I'm going to learn about what it is he likes about that, because I have no idea.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, and all I see is one game that he has. He probably has more games, but, you know.
There's a lot. I'm just going to keep saying that. There's a lot.
He has one big game, like, we played together, and then a lot of books. Yes. And it's very intriguing, and it looks cool. And I want to know more about it. So he's going to tell me more about that next time. And
well, this is Joshua I'm gonna be signing out. I got shit to do. I got things that need fingers stuck in them. You know how it is, guys.
And thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe. And just leave a comment on your favorite on your favorite podcast platform. And just let us know, like, what else you want to talk about. If there's anybody that wants to talk about anything, just let me know. But until next time, y'all stay breezy. Dom Delanucci is out.
This is Joshua. I'm fucking getting fucked right now.
Bye.